Today we're going to make a face paint stencil. So you will need some kind of template. I like to draw mine out first. Some tape to hold everything in place while we're making it. A scalpel or some kind of cutting device that you can use. And something to make your template out of. This is mylar and I have two different sizes. So one of them is 190, the thicker one, and one of them is 125. And for something that has a lot of curves in it, it's better to use 125. It's going to be easier to cut. The 190 is really good, but it's much better for things that have lots of straight lines. Trying to do curves on 190 is a bit tough. So the first thing we're going to do is tape down the template that we've drawn. You don't have to use a template like this if you don't want to. It's just much easier to know exactly where to cut if you have something drawn out first. Then we're going to pop the mylar sheet over the top. And you want to make sure that there is a big enough border around your template so that when you're using the stencil, you have enough space around the edge to kind of not make a mess. So we're going to tape that down as well so it doesn't move around while we're trying to cut things. Then we're going to start cutting out all of our shapes. And it is a bit tricky, even though we're using the 125, it's still not super easy to cut through. You could go down a number in the mylar if you wanted to, but your stencil just won't last as long because you're trying to get that balance between something that is flexible enough to go around parts of the body and strong enough to not, break apart and to sit nice and flat. So the easiest way to cut it is to not try and cut all the way through on the first cut. Just go around the shape and that's going to score the mylar sheet and then go around that again with more pressure. Because the scalpel is more likely to kind of follow along with the groove you made when you went around it the first time. But really just take your time with it, make sure you're using a nice sharp blade, switch it out to a fresh one whenever you need to, and that's going to make things much easier. If after you've made the cut with more pressure, the piece is still attached, see if there's any edges that you can flip out, because that, again, it's going to make it easier to cut the rest out if you have an edge that you can flip out. Sometimes they just really like to stick in there. Once you've got everything cut out, you can remove all the tape. You can get rid of that template because it's probably looking a bit wrecked by now. And then we're going to cut the template down to size because the mylar sheet is much bigger than the template that I've made. And again, you want to make sure you're leaving that border around the edge of the template so that when you use it, you can easily apply paint over it without going over the edges. Then it's time to test out the template to make sure it is coming out how you want it to and everything is looking good. Because I'm doing this on myself, I don't have enough hands to hold the stencil in place, so I'm putting some tape on the edges so that I can tape it around my arm, and you can see the mylar is nice and flexible. It wraps around my arm really easily. And I'm using a wedge sponge and some face paint. And when you're applying the face paint, you want to press down with the sponge and lift back up. You don't want to kind of swipe around or do like really fast movements and stuff because you can end up kind of squishing the paint so it's not just going through the holes in the template. And then once you're done, remove the template and ta-da! We have our nice leopard print type design. Another great thing about mylar is it's very, very easy to clean. You can actually use quite harsh chemicals to clean this if you wanted to. But obviously this is only face paint, so we don't need to use any harsh chemicals. You can just use a bit of water, a baby wipe, whatever you've got to hand. Just give it a quick clean, a quick wipe over, and your stencil is back to new. Even though I've gone for a kind of pattern design, you can go crazy. You can do whatever you want to do. You could do, a flower or a dragon or whatever your artistic capabilities allow you to do. So I hope this was helpful, guys, and I will see you next time.